mode right now. Even with these like small little gap downs, it's nothing's really happening right now. Of course, we don't want to get too complacent, but my thinking is just, we just keep ripping them till the market shows us that we can't rip them anymore. And, we'll roll with that because this is probably the busiest earnings season I've seen in forever. Like there's just the amount of gaps that are showing up every single day is tremendous. Like you're getting big movers every single day, which you don't find. I mean, yesterday, right? I mean, every single stock, right? TNDM that we had on the list, TNDM, SE, they all took off like right out of the gates, like first candles out of the gates. That's what you want to see, right? That's a sign of a healthy market. So let's go into today's. Hey, Mar, how you doing, brother? Anthony, how you doing? Mr. Jameson, how you doing? Watch list for today, and there was a lot of gappers, so I try to kind of put them in some type of order. JD, this is a Chinese stock. Chinese stock's been hot all year. This one moves a little bit thick at times. It does not move as well as like PDD or IQ. Part of it is just, float and market cap. When you get a $31 billion, stock, it doesn't move, as fast as like in, an IQ, which is right half the market cap, or Huya, which is even probably half of that. These move a little bit better just because they're a little bit thinner. But JD, it's got a decent move. When you get a thicker stock like this, you want to make sure that you're just hitting it on pullbacks and stuff like that. We don't want to get too crazy with, like chasing this thing up. HCNP, now this one looks really nice. These type of breakouts, you can see like this is, basically 12, 13 month breakout. It hasn't been at this level since 2015. So if you look at the weekly chart on this, you've got a big kind of break over this 25. You're into this suction zone. So anything over this 24, 25 level is potentially a trade. We could take an ORB on this. We can go in with a quick pullback buy. We can go in with any one of the tools that we use in our arsenal for attacking a particular stock as long as it holds above the breakout level. So I do like this one. This Billy's really cooking too. Billy sucks to trade. I mean, there are just days you trade Billy and it's like slamming your D in a drawer, which is, obviously not fun for some of us. And this thing is really tricky to trade. It should be okay on an earnings day because it'll have independent order flow to it that should allow it to move up and down properly. It does look like maybe you get a magnet over here to about 23. That's where, you would have kind of a two-tapper where, you potentially would look at a fade off. I do like this one for today, but be mindful, this stock moves like dick. Ricketa's going to have, if for those of you guys that have been with us for a while, Ricketa, like a handful of months ago, maybe almost a year ago to this time, went on this like epic run. One day it just had like this big volume push out of nowhere, and this thing really was flying. You got $50, $60 on this thing from a couple bucks. It was the day of days to trade. So I don't know if it's going to do that again. Obviously not. But when we think about stocks that are gapping, when we think about stocks that are moving, what we want to always do is ask ourselves, does this stock have the potential to do what we want? And also, has this stock moved the way we want in the past, right? Has it run in the past? Is it a former momentum stock? We always want to give precedent to stocks that we know have moved in the past, stocks that have some type of cult following, and then of course the float on this. So this is like $5, $6 stock, 24 million share float. I mean, you're going to talk maybe just a few million shares in float. It might be 5, 6 million shares, but the market cap is so low that the float's probably going to be really, really small in this. So you've got to really kind of, and you got a nice break over here over the 200 SMA. The issue is just going to be shakeouts and spread. Don't go in balls deep on something like this. If you're trading at 1,000 shares, 2,000 shares, but don't try to load in like 10 and, get crazy with it. But You can definitely you'll definitely have the liquidity to trade a couple around. This TGTX is not as good as Rikita. You do have tons of room to go to the 200 SMA. You are gapping up a little bit here. 200,000 shares in volume pre-market. Man, my voice is gone. 200,000 pre-market. So this one may have a little bit of juice on it. I don't anticipate this stock being like as explosive as RKDA. I would be shocked if it was, but you may get a nice kind of steady mover around on this one today. CRC, this is an oil stock that's got basically like an inverse head and shoulders here. Anytime you see like a W on these stocks, that's a bottoming pattern, right? You know, we call that a 1, 2, 3 pattern in bootcamp class. When you start to come out of these, it's kind of like a longer term bottoming pattern. You may have room to maybe 30 bucks in the next few days on this. The float's 50 million shares. It should move okay. The caveat is that, you know, oil stocks are never as fun to trade unless there's like, you know, news out like, you know, Saddam Hussein laid a Blumpkin on the president of Iran's face, and then all of a sudden, right, they break out in war, and now it's like halakalaka, 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 and now oil prices go crazy, and now you're really getting that thing going. But beyond that, they don't move as fun as normal. Sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me. Hey, Roy, what's up, baby? Monster. Monster's got a really nice move. So, you know, it's looking a little... Let me get rid of all these lines here. Hold up. Take a look at the weekly chart. And you can see like a nice trend line break over here. I mean, I'm shocked that Monster has a $32 billion market cap. Like, this is just the energy drinks? Like, you know, anytime you see some dude rolling up with like a Monster can in his hand, you know he's a psycho. Like, he's definitely racist, and he's always a psycho, right? Like, you see that guy just rolling with the Monster can, like, you know he's a date raper and definitely racist. Like, they just look creepy when they roll up with that thing. Anytime I see a guy Monster can, I'm like, he's got a gun in the car, and he's definitely looking at me funny. You know, usually those are the guys with like fucking dragon tattoos and shit. You see all sorts of stuff. Or they're the brociopaths, like, you know, the bros that wear the golf shirts and like the wraparound Oakleys, and then they're running around just drinking Monster too. But those guys are more of like kind of like the date rapers. They're really, you can't trust anybody. If you see them with the Monster can, trust me, especially if they're buying them at the gas station. That's when you should be scared. Be scared if you see that. Words of wisdom from somebody who's lived. SYNH. So this one doesn't have much volume on it, but I did want to keep an eye on this for one reason. This one's they got some internal probe by the SEC on this stuff, and that's usually not a good thing. It's internal probe of their accounting and stuff. So, you know, sometimes when this stuff happens, you can get just everybody and their uncle selling off this thing. I would keep an eye on this. I don't know if it's going to have any liquidity. I don't know much about this company. But in general, keep an eye on that one. Then Box. These gap down plays, as we know, haven't been working as well. There are a few that do follow through, though. DY was one of them yesterday. What was the other one we had on the list? INGN, right? Anybody trade that bad boy yesterday? INGN, we had that on the list yesterday. You know, this one kind of did an ORB at 110. It did, I mean, it floated down to 100 bucks throughout the day. So there are a few of these that are working. So we definitely want to keep an eye on them. We just aren't really, we're not pushing on the shorts too heavy. This is a bull market, what we've seen the last month, so we just can't lay the shorts on too quick. This Crocs is gapping down. Now look, the setup on this is not that good. Usually when we get like a gap down short off missed earnings or bad earnings, we want them to really be like kind of breaking lows and stuff like that. This is a little bit different, but it's Crocs, and we have to short it just for the fact that people that wear Crocs are usually assholes. They make your feet smell. Like anytime you're gonna wrap plastic around your feet, you're advertising to the world that you got smelly feet and you don't want any hot little baby to suck your toes. And I mean, what else would you want on a nice Tuesday except somebody suck your toes? And you can't do that if you wear Crocs. You're advertising to the world that you probably drink Monster right out of a can. You're going to get them at the gas station. You're going to be rolling around with your alligator t-shirt, your wraparound Oakleys, and sitting in Crocs, just waiting for your prey. Crocs, short. Monster, probably short too, just for the fact that those guys are in a combo together and committing crimes. Man, never trust a guy that wears Crocs either if he's got Monster can in his hand. That's like a double whammy. So if you got the Monster can, he's probably a criminal. But if he's wearing Crocs, I mean, that could be like a fucking serial killer. So you got to really keep an eye out. I've lived a long life, guys. You're going to have to trust me on this. I know things, all right? I know things. I know the habits of white people very well. You don't see no Indian people wearing Crocs. It's too expensive. We like to go to Payless.
Payless is with big ones.
Payless is the hospital. That's where my dad used to go. Let's go to the Payless. We get a very nice shoes. Okay, I get one shoe for your basketball. Then we get one shoe for the wedding. It's Uncle Kumar's wedding. You're gonna look very good. Payless is out of business?
Yes.
A Crocster. See, now we're talking, Wayne. Now we're talking. I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that before. Good, 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 good. So we're keeping Crocs on the watch list as short just for spite. But, you know, otherwise, it's like a C+. So don't read too much into it. Let's talk a little bit about just like general stocks, man. There's so many hot stocks right now. It's really tricky. Like, how do you focus your efforts? How do you focus, you know, when you got like 12, 13, 14 names, right, on your watch list? What I want you guys to do is, right, really focus them down, right? Like, pick like a top 6. Pick a top 6. Keep them on a monitor. Keep them somewhere else. But, like, have a focus list. Like, I got 20 names on my list. I can't really watch all those, so we've got to be careful, right? Focus them down. Like, what I like to do on my TC2000, like, I tier them, right? So I want to tier them into what are the ones that I need to watch right now? Like, what are my first hit, second hit, third hit? Being organized in your watch list is the key to everything when you're in a runaway market where there's like too many stocks to watch. So just keep an eye on 6, 7, and then do the best you can. But make sure you rank them and tier them, because if you don't, you're going to have a lot of trouble. You're going to have tons of trouble like keeping up with everything. You know, I have that same kind of problem sometimes. You know, once your watch list gets into like 20 names, 30 names, you're really struggling. So what you want to do always, you build a list at night, of course, of like, say, 10, 15 names, but then what you want to be doing is once the market starts to open, you want to really narrow them down into just like a handful, right? What are my top ones? What are the ones that have the most volume, the ones that are moving around the best? And that's how you want to start to factor them in. Then as you get more experience, you can narrow them down even further into what type of stocks do I personally trade the best? Like, do I have a price range of stocks? Some people trade 10 and above better. Some people trade 10 and below better. You know, when I work with people, sometimes we'll narrow it down. Like, some people will be like, man, I trade $50 to $75 stocks really well. And it's actually a thing. And so once you start getting a little bit more data about how you trade and what you do, you'll be able to really nail down how to fine-tune your watch list a little bit more. So let's go do what we do. Let's have a little fun. I think this Ricketta might be today's heater too, so keep an eye on it.